Oh, hello.
Hello, advanced English learners. So happy you're here joining us for a live with Greg and Mary Daphne. So welcome. How are you doing today, Greg?
Doing very well. I had a lovely workout this morning down in the gym, and so I'm feeling fresh and ready to talk.
That's awesome. Rejuvenated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did a nice today's my recovery day, so I did a yoga and Pilates. And
What's
it was
Pilates?
Pilates, it's a type of exercise actually invented for injured ballet dancers. To rehab, recoup. And so Joseph Pilates invented this. And I used to do a lot of Pilates back when I was a serious ballet dancer. And so I would do it on the days that I didn't have ballet just to keep those muscles engaged and strengthened.
Right.
So it's basically, if you think of yoga, but more like on the ground and a lot of like ab work and core strengthening.
I think of
and
like
glutes.
limb movements, like
Yeah,
moving
it's
your
like that.
arms,
It's like
moving your
levers.
legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
there's the thing that I love, the Pilates reformer, which is the
Yes.
newer thing.
It's a very scary looking piece of machinery. It's a workout equipment, but
Yeah.
it looks like a torture device.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's awesome. I really want to get one, but maybe one day. So our topic today for this live is all about making requests in English. And we put out a lesson earlier this week about how to politely make a request. Because, there's that fine tuning, right? At the advanced level, it's not just about saying something that's grammatically correct. It's also about being pragmatically correct and using the language the way that people use the language in that culture, right?
Right. And I remember you described grammatically correct as, right, the grammar, like it's syntactically accurate. And then pragmatically correct is being used in a way that is it would be normally used.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. And so we're really focusing now at this level, right? You're advanced. You're communicating in English. You are probably doing business in English. You are living in places where English is spoken. And so you really want to be fine-tuning and working on the pragmatics, the language use. And so we're really happy to have you here. So today we're talking about the difference also between a request and a command, right? Because sometimes the lines blur and it's not very clear to the person to whom you're speaking if you
What
are
you're issuing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Are you politely asking them to open the window or close the window? Or are you mandating, giving them that order, that command to do so?
Right.
So
maybe we use that example. Maybe let's talk about opening the window.
Yeah.
One as a command.
Yeah.
One as a request.
Right.
So for me, if I were to, if you were telling me to open the window,
Yeah.
your command would be, go open that window, right?
Yeah.
It's like very strict, but it doesn't have to be that aggressive. You could just say, open that window, right?
Yeah. Or just open the window.
Open the window.
Open the window.
Open the window.
Yeah.
That's a command, right? In my
And
mind.
even in a softer tone, open the window.
Right.
Right. That's still right. It's still a command. Even
Right.
if you use a softer tone, it's a command.
Yeah, and so before we compare them, let's talk about this one. So that's the command.
Yeah.
The request would be, would you mind opening the window?
Yeah. Would you mind opening the window?
Right. Would you mind opening the window? And so the difference there is subtle, but it's a very meaningful difference. It's a very pragmatic difference.
Yes.
Because when the first one, the command, open the window, to me it says I have no choice. Right. This is something I have to do, and I'm basically, she's my boss, and I have to follow her instructions.
Right.
Right. That's the impression I get.
Yeah.
Right. Open the window.
Yeah. Like you must open this
Right.
window, or else.
Or else.
Yeah. Or else you don't get dinner. Right. Or something.
Ooh, that'd be bad. By contrast, the second one, right, the request, would you mind opening the window? Even though it's really asking the same thing,
Yeah.
it's presenting it to me in a way that it gives me an option.
Yeah. You have a choice.
I have a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And coming from the American English context, because we're both American and we're, in the American English context, so that's the frame of reference we're using, we don't really like being told what to do, right? I mean, there's a difference when, somebody authority commands it, then we have to do it. But with a request, we don't really like to be told to open the window. We like to be asked to open the window. We like to
Invited to open the window.
Exactly. We could open the window or we could not open the
Yeah.
window. We have a choice, right?
Yes.
So we have that power of agency. So if I'm cold, if I'm hot and I don't want to open the window.
Well, if it's
because
winter
if it's
and you're
winter
hot,
and I'm hot,
you might want to open the window.
I might want to open the window. But let's say I don't want to open the window. I could say, no, I don't really want to. It's nice and warm in here, right? So I
Yeah.
could just say, I'm sorry, like I don't want to.
It's cold outside and I don't want it. Right.
Exactly. Right. I have a choice. And if I say it nicely, but now do that same thing where Greg's commanding me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Open the window.
No. Right? Like I feel a little bit like my rights have been,
Right.
infringed upon or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I had the choice there.
Right. And
so I get aggressive.
Exactly. It elicited this almost defensive response, right? It brought this defensive response out of you, which is no.
Yes. Like,
Right.
no.
And sometimes when you use that kind of language, even if they were okay with opening the window, they'll say no anyways.
Good point.
Just because they don't want to be told what to do, whatever it is.
Yeah. Good point. That's a really good point.
Whereas when you invite them to do it,
Yeah.
would you mind opening the window?
Happy to.
Or you might say, I would love to, but I'm actually a little bit cold right now. So
Let me get a sweater first.
let me get a sweater and then I can do that,
Yeah.
right? And then I might say, oh, if you're cold, don't worry about it, right?
Right. So there's a conversation, right? And that's so important because it enables more efficient and effective communication, right? As opposed to one person commanding the other and the other person getting angry and then maybe returning the favor, right? And so giving the other person the command later on,
Right.
like cook dinner. It's like, well, maybe you
That
could
won't go over
ask.
so well, yeah.
Exactly. It's not the right way of doing it. And so, there's really that distinction. And we gave 10 different ways that you can make a request. And these are polite, sort of, subtle ways. You're asking, but you're not necessarily asking. You're kind of like hinting at you really want this done. But you're doing it a polite way where you're giving them a choice
Yeah.
to either do it or tell you something else, give you another.
Yeah, it's super,
thing.
super useful. And so you should definitely check out that video because this kind of distinction between the two can make a huge difference in terms of the attitude of the person you're interacting with, right? And if you do it the right way, you have a very positive, friendly interaction. If you do it the wrong way, even though you meant well, the other person could have a very negative reaction. And that can really hurt your ability to interact with them in a calm and sort of productive way.
Absolutely. And there is such a thing as too direct or too overt. So in American culture, we tend to be direct, but we still shroud it in politeness. There are still, maxims, politeness strategies and protocol that we follow in order to maintain the relationship, leave a favorable impression. Like I said, we don't really like being told what to do. We like having the choice. And there's that saying in English, you attract more bees with honey, right, than with vinegar. So use the honey, right, and get what you want.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
And so it's a good thing to keep in mind, right? Being direct, stating what you want, right? You want the window open, so you're going to ask that, but do it in a nice way.
Yeah.
There's something in English that we call implicature, and I'm going to make a whole separate video about that. But there's even more subtle ways of asking someone to do something. And there's different types, but I'll just give one just as a little like teaser. So let's say I want Gregory to open the window, right? So I can say, instead of saying, could you open the window? Would you mind opening the window? Could you please open the window? All of which are polite requests. If you want to take it a step further and be even more subtle, right? You say something like, it's freezing in here. Aren't you cold? Right? And by
Clever.
that, I understand, well, I see the window open. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that means that she's cold. Maybe she wants me to close the window. And if it's not clear, so for example, let's run through that. So Greg's going to ask me that in that way, I'm cold, but without asking me.
Whew, it's a little bit chilly in here.
Okay, so how I can respond to that is, oh, let me close the window.
Oh, that would be terrific.
Okay,
Thank you.
Right? And that's what he wants. Now, the other way I could respond is, oh, are you cold? Should I close the window?
Yeah, I'd actually really love that. Thank you for asking.
Right. So in that case, like in the second example of my response, I'm not sure if he wants the window closed. So I do a check. I do a comprehension check to see if I understood his intention, what he implied, right? The implicature.
Yeah.
So that's a little teaser. I'm going to make a separate lesson about that, and we'll unpack that later. But that's another way of really being polite. And again, this is advanced. So we're not just talking about saying things correctly. We're talking about subtleties. And that's really what differentiates the novice learner, the intermediate learner, from the advanced learner, the person who's really now soaking up the culture, right? Language and culture are combined. We call it lingua culture. And so we can't have one without the other. And to be really, to have communicative competence means that we understand the pragmatics. And so that's what we're here for. If you have any questions as to, how to make a polite request in a way that's not aggressive and not pushy, then check out the video that we put out earlier this week. Look at this one again. Ask some questions in the comments section, and we're here for you. And so I think that's a nice way to wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Practice these requests.
Very handy. Definitely worth getting good at because you'll have a lot better interactions with the people that you meet.
That's right. And you'll leave a good impression on them.
Yes.
Right? So that you can cultivate a friendship with them.
Yeah. Well said. All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Happy advanced English learning, and we will catch you in the next lesson and the next live stream.